So, hello. I meant to make a video on what exactly is a master, and I ended up delineating into my personal beliefs in belt systems. So, my apology for that. In this video, I will focus on what a master is. So, for a little bit of context, I began martial arts when I was either a few days before I turned 4 or a few days after, and it began with Taekwondo. In my journey over the last 25 years, it's been a wild ride. I've been to many different schools across over 15 styles. I now know 5 styles of Taekwondo, and my highest rank in Taekwondo is a third Dan, in Murakwan Taekwondo. Now, these days, I have ventured on to my own, and this is something I'm going to get into a little bit more, but this is relevant to how you can become a master. Now, in the traditional sense, mastery is passed on from teacher to student directly. And I mean that as in you train under them for a significant period of time, and then once they deem you ready, you pass it on. Or sorry, they pass it on to you. They promote you. There's every school has every system, every organization has a different criteria for that. Now, that's not the only way to become a master in your martial arts. A person who goes beyond competing, who actually goes into the world and tests it, who finds through blood, tears, trial, and error what works and doesn't work and how to make it work, is another way for mastery. Because you see, mastery isn't some lofted godly position. It doesn't work like that. I have quite a few friends these days who are masters, and when I speak to them about this, they don't really feel rank wise different than when they were a second Dan or a first Dan. The difference is they've developed higher nuances within their martial art. If martial arts was a mountain and black belt was getting to the base so you can begin climbing it, we all reach different levels at different rates. This is how some students can come to outrank their own teachers. This teaching in martial arts is a reciprocal thing. For example, when I teach a class, um, if I make a mistake, they're going to make a mistake. So it's imperative that I do not make mistakes. And by doing so, this becomes a habit for me to improve my martial arts. And this feedback over years and years and years, over hundreds of students that you have, allows you to develop that nuance in the art. But if you only do what you know, you will always be stuck there. So you have to reach for more. You have to come up with your own techniques. You have to come up with your own forms, your own approaches, and your own philosophy in all this. And mastery ultimately is all of that, but being able to actually, sorry, the air conditioners are done, but to actually be able to do it naturally in your day-to-day life, on the fly, and to use what you do in your natural life to influence your martial arts and improve it. You see, we don't stop growing. At a certain point, a master, their teacher's gone. They may retire, they may die, they may disappear. And at that point, what? We stop growing? Do we only grow by fighting? No. We grow by coming to transition from the idea that martial arts is about fighting and self-defense into something more as a way of life. And when someone can truly adapt a technique within their life on the fly without error, that's mastery. The difference between an expert is someone who can do every technique they were taught perfectly. A master is someone who will take it farther than that to develop it further. They will take a look at that technique that's perfect, and they will find a way to make it better. And more importantly, they will then take what they've learned doing this and all of this and pass it on to the rest. And in this way, martial arts grow and change. This is how Jeet Kune Do came from Wing Chun. This is how Odo Kwon came from Chung Do Kwon. Kendo from Kenjutsu. There's always other elements like culture and, in this day and age, sports and things like that, and martial arts go through fads. I have yet to hear of a UFC master, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people who fight in the UFC who don't have that capability. And there's higher levels of mastery. It doesn't cap out at 4th Dan, and even at 10th Dan, they keep growing. Now, for those of us, even those of us who have been doing it for near 30 years or 50 years, we may not get to that echelon. It depends on how creative we are and how much we can maintain what we've learned, continue it, and improve on it. Not for ourselves necessarily, but for others. After all, my goal, perhaps a dumb one, is that my students can beat me. I'm not a fighter, I'm a teacher. That requires that I can fight, but I'm not an aggressive person by nature. But my goal is to take the techniques that I can come up with, develop them further, and assist my students. I received my 3rd Dan when I was 13, 16 years ago. You think I'm still a 3rd Dan, even if it's on paper? No, and nobody works like that. So, I don't want you guys to think that mastery is some mystical term that's out of reach. If you aren't in a school and you're directly given a certificate saying you're a master, that doesn't actually mean you haven't hit that ability and insight in the martial arts. For example, when I was promoted to master level in martial arts, I never received a certificate. Honestly, I don't care if I did. But I consulted several masters who I happen to have great respect with. One who in the 80s was very affluent and reputable in the DC area, and like Fairfax, Manassas, Maryland, and all that. His school won every tournament. He was a genius. He even trained the Red Power Ranger. The student of his that taught me how to do the ox draw, she helped organize the Women's March. He produced heroes. So I consulted him. I gave him the honest truth of my story. I didn't embellish. I even told him my mistakes and the time that I got in jail for defending a friend from the police. And then I consulted the Kuntoa man, who I have the utmost respect for because he has a similar realistic mentality like my original teacher. And my teacher, Master Khan, he's the reason that I've survived some of the fights I've been in when I went out to explore the world and test myself. And I gave them both sides. I gave them both stories, I should say. I gave each side the same story. And I also approached several other peers who they're my rank now, and without fail, they all agreed that I've reached that level of mastery. So this isn't something that comes with a belt. It comes with reputation. In the old days, perhaps a master was someone who was the inheritor of a style, but in other ways, a master was someone who was recognized by others as having reached that skill level. It's enigmatic at the very least, and even masters can make mistakes. But the difference is, a master no longer is worried about winning. They're worried about improving themselves and you in a way that you can win and further the arts. So I hope that clarifies what a master is in martial arts. Perhaps a little bit of our duties. I didn't get into how they run schools. I'll do that in another video. But I appreciate you guys for listening. And for those of you who are wondering just where the hell you are at like 3rd Dan when you've stopped training, I hope this helps. I would say that after 20 years, generally speaking, with diligent effort, you should have reached master level. Not the highest level, but the beginning. So thank you guys for watching, and hope you have a great day.